So this is a wrinkle coating, like a lot of the, you'll see it a lot of the time on like valve covers and stuff on different cars, a lot of Hondas. I've looked up a bunch of videos on this. It seems very simple to do. I got the red, and I'm going to be doing my air intake tube. It's a very short little tube, but I think it's going to make a lot of difference in color underneath the hood because I have the red accents under there. So I've got this stuff, and I have a primer here. Wasn't that expensive. This stuff was like 20 bucks on Amazon, and it shipped. Came in 2 days. But this is a 2-day process here, so it says 24 to 48 hours to dry before you put it back. But I'm going to use a heat gun because all the videos I've seen, people use heat guns to dry it and to give it the wrinkle effect. It kind of dries a little faster. I might be able to put it back under the hood today if it all goes well, but I have somewhere to be later on today, so I probably won't have time to do it. I'm also going to ask your opinion on something as well. This garage lighting is so horrible, it's pathetic. And now this is way too bright, and I got this whole garage, right? The contractor built the house, this whole garage, and he put two little lights, two little tiny little lights, basic lights. Nice. Anyway, this is the tube here that's getting done. I'm going to make this red to match with all the little red engine dress-up pieces that I have here. But also, all the other chrome piping in here, I don't know if I want to do because I'm not really a fan of chrome, but at the same time, it really sticks out. But there's a sweet charcoal gray finish in this stuff that I was thinking about coating all the piping in. It's a really, really nice gray color, and I think it would also stand out, obviously, because of all the black and all the red. So just let me know what you think, gray or chrome. It's not a shiny finish at all. It's going to be very dull, much like this stuff here. But I don't know. I don't know which one I want to do. But to take this off, it's going to be different than a stock Subaru if you have one. On the mass airflow sensor, I have to use an Allen wrench because when I got it tuned, the gasket on the mass airflow sensor was leaking. So my tuner put some special gasket on and used his own screws. Or that's just a flathead, obviously, just a regular hose clamp. And I just have to take that filter off, obviously, with a hose clamp. Let me just do that, and then I'm going to start prepping this thing to get painted. This would also be a good time to clean the filter. You can just use some soap and water if you have an aftermarket filter. I don't know about all the other ones, but I just did it recently, so I'm not going to bother with it. Now this was stuck on here the last time I tried to take it off. I don't really want to mess with it too much. Also, little things like this, if this were to break, you'd probably want to get the same exact one from the manufacturer, and those cost a lot of money. If it was something you're not really too worried about, then obviously you can get some sort of knockoff or some other brand. I mean, when you're spending a lot of money on something like this, you would just rather do it right. Okay, it actually wasn't that bad. So this is it. This is all I'm doing. Oh, that's my heater going. May 5th, the heat's going on. Makes sense. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start sanding this a little bit. This is 320. Yep, 320. That's all you need. You don't need anything aggressive unless you're trying to take something else off. And then I'm just going to wipe it down with some of this. This denatured alcohol is also a cleaner. I used it in my other video with the headers that I had ceramic coated, so this stuff worked well. And for this type of application here, this stuff here is pretty thick, so when you're doing it, you don't have to worry about getting too many deep scratches in there because the stuff is really thick. It's just going to fill it in. But if you ever want to take it off, be gentle with this so that you can polish it or do something else with it. So this has been sanded. Just looks like brushed aluminum. So I'm just going to use some of this stuff, paper towels, and just clean it up, and then I'm going to start priming it. Now, if your taping isn't perfect, like if you have a little bit on the edge here, if you're doing something like this, it's not going to matter because if you think about it, a little bit of this has to go into the coupler, and then obviously the air intake is going to go over this end as well. What really matters here is this gasket surface. You really need to make sure that this is right. The mass airflow sensor sits right here, and if it's not going to make a proper seal, you might get a boost leak, you might just have an air leak, it might set an engine code, so just make sure that this is right. Okay, so this little mount here for the screw, I'm trying to tape on. I cut around it with a razor blade, but it's still not perfect. So something that I saw online is that you could just take some sandpaper and just gently go around the edges, and it'll take off any of the garbage that you're trying to remove. and it should come out pretty nice. It would just look something like that. So I got to do it to the other one, and then the main square mating surface there for the mass airflow sensor. When you do this, it suggests 3 coats. Each coat is a different pattern, so the first coat, it doesn't matter which way you do it, but the first coat should be left and right or up and down, and then the second coat should obviously be the opposite of whether you went left and right or up or down. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there's these little indentations here that aren't filling. I apologize for the horrendous lighting here. I'm going to start heat gunning this. I have my phone here as a light to kind of help me and to kind of help the camera see what I'm doing. I'm just going to start heat gunning this. It's going to start to produce a wrinkle. It says to wait 24 to 48 hours before you really do anything with it. I'm very impatient, so I'm going to try it tomorrow or later tonight to see if it's dry enough to work with. Then I'll just put it back on the car. Yeah, I don't know if you can see, but it's getting pretty wrinkly. What I'm going to do, I think, is just grab a can of flat red spray paint or satin red spray paint. There are some little imperfections, like where I had those runs and those little indents. For some reason, I don't know why they're there, but once this is dry, I'm just going to lay one quick coat of satin red on here and call it a day, because this stuff isn't that shiny as it is. Okay, so the wrinkle coat is basically done. It's dry. Oh, there it goes. So what I got is this here. My dad sent me a picture. I had him pick it up while he was out. But what sucks is that in the picture he sent me, it looked more like this red, but now here it's like maroon. Worst comes to worst, I could just redo it. This only took me a day. It's not the end of the world. The red under my hood, it's not nearly as bright as the stuff that I had, which is like this red. This is like a safety red. It's super bright red. So this might actually work just perfect. The air intake is finished. It's in there on the left-hand side. You can see I put it back in. The color is not exactly the same as the alternator guard and the radiator shroud, but it still looks nice, and I'm very happy with it. I'm going to bring it down there so that you can see it better. Now again, something I want to do, maybe just wrinkle coat this chrome piping with a charcoal gray wrinkle coat. It's a really, really nice color, and I think it's going to pop on here just as well as the chrome, just because I have all the black and the red, so gray will pop out. It's not like a dark gray, but it's subtle enough to where it's not also extremely bright. But the chrome could be very nice if I polish it.